Hello and welcome back to video 2 of your knitting lessons. This is your second row of your knitting. You are going to just repeat the steps that you have done on the previous first row to knit your stitches. So put your needle from the front to the back into that first loop. If it gets a bit big, just give a little gentle pull on the working yarn, the black yarn coming from your ball, to tighten it up a little bit. Not too tight though. We want to work in a nice comfortable way that is not too tight but also not too loose. So taking the yarn around the back of the needle and pulling it through in between those two needles, and just as before, use the tip of your needle to slowly guide and catch that yarn, that stitch through, keeping it on, and then use the needle to guide that loop off. Again, in from the front towards the back, behind the needle that is in your left hand, wrap that yarn around and in between the two needles. Use the tip to catch and guide that second stitch off. Number 3, in from the front to the back, around that back needle between the two needles, and then guide it underneath and slide it off. You are going through that stitch from the front towards the back, wrapping that yarn around the needle between the two needles, guide and slip it through, under, and slide it off. Through the stitch front to back, wrap the yarn around the back in between the two needles. Use the tip of the needle to guide it through, new stitch on the right needle, and use the whole work to slide that stitch off. Through, around, between, under, and off. Watch this last stitch now, because these ones can be tricky. They can sneak off a needle, they can pop off before you know it. Front to back again, behind the needle, yarn around the back and between, carefully watching as you guide it through and under and slide it off. And there you have it. Row number 2 is completed. It is done. You have done 2 rows of knitting.